to.
Right.
At one point, she felt like she didn't do nothing wrong.
Right.
So she was at me like, what she said, oh, there you go. Why you acting like I really did something?
Right.
And I'm like, well, if the shoe was on the other foot,
right,
how would you feel? She was like, so it's all about how you feel.
Right.
And no, it's not about how I feel. It's about how you made me feel.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so, and I'm like, I ain't no soft dude, baby. But I know how I want to be treated. You know what I'm saying? So understand that. And I want you to think about that. Use your emotional intelligence. And then I told her where I was coming.
Yeah.
I told her this where I was coming
to.
So I wanted her to, I told her to reach out to you on Facebook too.
right.
She's not intact with that emotion part of her. I think she still has that defense mechanism that I had going on.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And that's what we're talking about. That's why we create this platform, you guys. You know, this is the I Never Worry podcast, you know, where we're talking about emotional intelligence, right, with everyday people about everyday situations. And as I sit across the table, and what I love about this, most creating this platform, right, we can, Stacy, say, what can we say? We can say what we want to say. We just remember that the goal is that we want our audience to understand that we all going through something. Right, we've all been somewhere. As I'm sitting here listening, and I trip off Toddy Boy all the time because when me and Todd grew up, man, this dude get mad, and this fool pull guns out, and I don't mean one, I mean two, right? Yes. I mean, and I've been his young homie since day one. You know, when he came back from the Youth Authority back in the day, he was a bald-headed troublemaker. I didn't even know him, but I was fascinated because they had him down like an urban legend.
And look. I tell people
He's
this.
Like Omar from The Wire.
I tell people this.
We'll get back to our conversation with Todd and Stacy in a minute, but we wanted to take a couple of minutes to let you know one of the many things that we do here at I Never Worry Training and Consulting. Today we're going to talk about work. You know, the average person will spend 90,000 hours at work over a lifetime. Some work environments are more challenging than others, and we all do different things, but one thing is for sure, we have to deal with people. Customers, co-workers, managers, clients, over the phone, via email, whatever it is, you're going to have to deal with people. And if you're dealing with people, you're going to be dealing with emotions. And not just the emotions of the ones around you, but we have to deal with our own emotions as well. Sometimes it's challenging, and other times it just seems outright impossible. That manager that just doesn't know how to talk to you right, your lazy coworker, the angry drama-filled coworker, constant policy changes in the workplace. How do you deal with it? Lack of clearly understanding or managing emotions can create employee conflicts, which affects job performance and can lead to a counterproductive work culture. That's a big effect on the workplace. At I Never Worry Training and Consulting, we have a proprietary training which has enabled us to work with companies and institutions, providing tools and help navigate through the many challenges that can arise in the workplace. And if you are one of those few fortunate ones to work for a company with a solid, positive culture, we have a program to enhance that environment through our lens of emotional intelligence. Call us today at 510-216-6329 or email us info@ineverworry.com. We have and will continue to work with companies of all sizes. So how do you introduce us to your manager or your business or your workplace if you feel that you need us? Be careful there. We don't want to offend nobody, your managers or anything like that. Give us a call. Let us do what we do. We will help you navigate through that. I Never Worry Training and Consulting has been helping companies for years, such as Kaiser, Cal State East Bay, Marriott Hotel. The list goes on and on. We want to help you and your company. Give us a call, 510-216-6329, or email us, info@ineverworry.com. Now we're going to go ahead and get back to our conversation with Mr. Todd Mayfield, the Gym Killer, Miss Stacy Hogg.
What was you telling yourself? Waste of time,
exactly.
Money. What was the thoughts?
Did
in
I
your
really
head?
just buy her drinks?
What did you tell yourself? Yeah, because that's important to know. Like people,
Man,
you're not flying off the handle for no reason. If you're just tuning in, you just catching up with us. You know, Todd Mayfield from Anywhere Trainers was sharing a personal story about going out with a young lady, and the date ended relatively early. We didn't know exactly why, so we got offended.
I didn't either.
Yeah, because she cut the date off right, and he felt a certain kind of way about it, but because he has grown into a space of emotional intelligence, he did not respond how me personally know he could, and and he felt the same way, and that's the thing about EI. His feelings didn't change. He was upset. But how he responded, right, showed growth. So he was just finishing that part of the story about telling them, I asked him, so why did you feel like that? What were you telling yourself when she erupted? What were the things that you were saying?
I'm thinking to myself, I ain't messing with her no more.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I came out. She invited me out.
We quick to cut him off.
She invited me out. So it was basically at that point I was thinking, I ain't never going to see her again.
Right.
So that's all it was. And wasn't going to cuss her out, make her mad or anything. I'm just going to get away from her. Plus, I drove my own car.
Right.
So it was easy for me to just, leave.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. My friend.
Why did that wake you up, Stace?
Yeah, it's like in today's time, it's like meet me. I don't want to get involved.
Just in case.
Yeah.
See, you got to use emotional intelligence on that too.
On the front end.
That is basically, a first first date too. Yeah, let's kind of like meet up.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Because things can happen just like that. Okay. So just imagine if I would have had to drive home with her or drop her off.
Right.
What could have, would have went down, So I'm glad I drove.
For sure. And thanks for sharing that. So we're going to go ahead and talk about our skill set of the day. So on our program, every time we do a recording, we're going to highlight a skill set for the day. And today's skill set is no matter the situation, never let emotions overpower your intelligence. No matter, and we got no matter in red, the situation, never let emotions overpower your intelligence. This is one of the key elements that we share in our proprietary trainings, right? And most people don't even recognize this as a skill set. So the reason why we share this, because there's so many times where we want to give ourselves permission to act up, right? We want to be like this time, or this is different, but it's not different. And I learned this lesson the hard way. I feel like when I got myself caught up and caught my very last case, where I blanked out because of what I kept telling myself. And I kept telling myself that you're doing me wrong. I've given you passes. I've given you multiple passes. I've put people down for less, right? It's time. But when I sat in Santa Rita for that year, all of a sudden it was like, you didn't have to do that. And so that's, to me, why it became very powerful. There was a lot of folks out here as I have, transitioned from being in the streets and being a professional and, being this EI guy and just in deciding to be calm, that I feel like, test me at times or challenge me or say slick stuff. And there's times I see stuff on social media, people drop little bliminals and stuff, and I'm really good at just ignoring it and not giving any feedback to it, right? But it doesn't mean I don't feel like smacking you. It don't mean that I don't feel like, sending somebody to say something to you, right? Because those are old habits. Those are old ways of looking at it. And familiar, and it's the easy way to do it, but it's all, but I think the higher elevation and the higher frequency is to go ahead and stomach those feelings, right, and rechannel into something very, very positive. And so no matter the situation, never let your emotions overpower your intelligence. Stacy, when you read that, give us some commentary on that.
Higher frequency.
Yes, ma'am.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I have so many stories on this because of the situations and everything that I've been through. I've had to definitely have my intelligence overweigh my situation, spiritually, mentally. One of the things, and I don't mean to go spiritual on you guys, but one of the things that come to mind for me is when my brother was murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a very, very high faith in God. I trust God, and sometimes it's easy to get mad at God. And that moment, I had to choose to thank God for my brother's life and to thank him. And that was the hardest thing that I had to do. And when I hear you say, do what's the higher frequency, I say harder.
Mm-hmm.
It's always easy to cuss somebody out.
Yeah.
It's always easy to, but when you are on a spiritual realm and somebody's just murdered your brother, how do you go in and say, thank you, Lord?
Right.
That was so hard for me, but it protected me, and it gave me spiritual intelligence.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I
sure,
mean?
for sure.
It did, because it protected me. And so in my life, I tend to say, let's do what's harder to do.
Mm-hmm.
You use high frequency. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Sometimes it's harder to walk away. It's harder to be meek when I was listening to what you said. It's easy to go back to your old ways and say, let me send somebody to go see you.
For sure.
Who you are is now meek Derek Bedford, because meekness is not weakness.
Right.
Meekness is doing something that you know you're capable of doing, but you don't do it.
Right.
You know you're capable of doing it.
Right, most definitely.
So sometimes our ego make us feel like it's a weakness.
Right.
Just like walking away, and it's not.
Yeah.
And I think I really like that point, because I like to always use the point of, if it's easy, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So anything that's difficult, and if you think in life, anything, my mom and dad have been married 47 years. Pops, but really married, like you go to their house right now.
Yes.
Pops will sit on the couch and mom's laying on their lap and they watch a movie. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
But when you talk to them, like they tell you, like they're constant, like they're still working at
Yes,
it.
It wasn't easy. It ain't easy.
But the results, it's like, but what you get out of it, and I think that's what, like, anything that's difficult and that you work at, there's usually more pleasure or better results that come up out of that.
Do you guys agree that now, like this millennial age and where we are now, that everything is so quick paced that we just, like we just
Microwave era.
We don't work at anything anymore. It's like,
just like them text messages.
But that's the times we live in. But I want to go back real quick to one of our conversations, to tell a story. But before I do that, Todibo, talk about to you when you read that, no matter the situation, never let your emotions overpower your intelligence.
No matter the situation. And Stacy had major situation when it comes to death. So, I can understand that. My situation was a little different. I was facing life in prison for something I didn't do. And this was serious. And I didn't do the crime, but I'm facing life. So over some lies that somebody told on me. Like Stacy said, when she was mad at God, at one point I'm like, God, how you gonna let this happen to me? You know I didn't do this. The situation kept getting deeper and deeper as I kept going to court. It was seeming like I was really finna do life in prison. Turn around, I'm here today, free, because everything came to the light. And at that point in time, I had to let go of all the hatred that I had for this woman for putting me in this situation. And once I did that, my emotions and my power, they were all mine again. So it was serious, because 17 months of my life was spent behind bars fighting for my life.
Yeah, and how old were you at this time?
I was 40 years old.
wow.
So to come from where you come from, and then at 40 years old to catch
40 years old
pace of your life.
Yes.
Emotionally, like when you first went to, when you sit up in Santa Rita,
crying every night. I mean, you could have threw a life preserver in my cell. because it was filled up with tears. Didn't know how to. I just numb every day. Didn't eat. Didn't do anything. But I asked God one day. I was sitting on the bench,